Not many games are as iconic, timeless, and synonymous with Mountain Dew, midnight releases, and a rabid fan base as Halo. Halo is a game that didn't just launch a console, it launched an entire era of gaming. And it released in 2001 as the flagship title for the original Xbox. And it was not just a shooter, it was the reason people even bought an Xbox in the first place back then. In this video, I'm going to be diving deep into what made Halo so special to me, why I think it still holds up today, and how it basically created the Xbox empire, which at that point is hard, damn near impossible to debate. I just want you guys to think of this as like a conversation. I'm not a deep dive YouTuber. I'm not an essay YouTuber. I'm not an expert. This is literally just a guy with a microphone and an opinion, which is most of YouTube, but for some reason, some people think that some people are experts and whatnot, but, I am just giving my opinion. I'm just talking about stuff I love, and Halo is definitely something I love. This is just me geeking out about one of the greatest games of all time, and you hanging out, hopefully, to listen in. So let's rewind to where it all began, because console shooters were struggling back in the day. GoldenEye 007 proved it could be done, but most first-person shooter games felt very awkward compared to PC. And that's a topic that's still heavily debated even today. PC versus console, who's better, who has the upper hand, which one's easier, blah, 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 blah. I don't really care. Too much words. Anyways, Microsoft wanted to enter the console wars against Sony and Nintendo. And to do so, they needed a killer introduction to this space. And that's where Bungie comes in, because originally, Halo was a Mac game, and it was even shown off by Steve Jobs in, I believe, the late 90s, if not definitely the early 2000s. And, Microsoft then bought Bungie in 2000 and pivoted Halo into a launch title. And from there, obviously, the rest is history. And this is I just love little tidbits like this because it's just so interesting to think about where certain things could have gone if the people in charge made a slightly worse decision. Like, I definitely don't think Halo would be the title it is if it launched on a Mac or a PC or whatever. I think, as much as I say Halo built Xbox, Halo is also what it is because of the Xbox, if that makes sense. Like, they both definitely nurtured each other and helped each other grow. Now, a little fun fact, the original Xbox prototype was literally just a giant silver X-shaped box, the size of a coffee table. I almost dropped an F-bomb too early. I would have been demonetized if I even was monetized. But, I mean, just imagine carrying that to a LAN party. I just wanted to talk about this really quick because, we're talking about the past and the first Xbox. And this concept is ridiculous because some people, I've seen them online say, oh, I really wish we got that. But no, you don't. It is the size of a table, my guy. You do not want that. It's so impractical. Although I will say, it looks very cool. Reminds me of it's very like GameSphere-esque from Drake and Josh. If you know that, then you are cultured. So I appreciate that. Anyways, the opening mission sets the tone. The Covenant are attacking the Pillar of Autumn. You wake up as Master Chief, and right away the world feels massive. There's no slow introduction, there's no hand holding. You are just in the shit. And the music instantly felt iconic. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it other than like chants and drums and orchestral themes. I was in band, a little tidbit about me, for a good chunk of my early life. And I'm still not an expert at all in music, but I just love this soundtrack. Halo is, I mean, if you guys know Halo, you know, even if you don't know Halo, you probably know the soundtrack, and it's just so good. So that mixed with, like I said, the waking up with like just boots on the ground, you're ready to go. You are hooked as soon as you load up this game. Now that being said, Halo didn't just, have a good introduction. It also looked good for 2001. It felt very cinematic in a way that console shooters hadn't really been up to that point. If you guys are familiar with some console shooters, they're not or they weren't, I should say, that groundbreaking, which makes Halo so groundbreaking. It was very different for its time, and it should be credited for that. I mean, there's always the debate of Halo versus COD, and I mean, that's a fair debate, but it cannot be understated what Halo did for the visual side of first-person shooters. This whole game, I mean, maybe the music helps me feel like this, but the game itself just feels so much like a movie, and like you're literally playing a movie, and it's sick. Honestly, I love it. Um, and also, fun fact about the Halo theme, I learned in my little bit of research for this video, because I do try to do a little bit just so I can make sure I get the big points correct for you guys. But apparently the music was written in just 3 days by Martin O'Donnell. He literally hummed it in his car, and apparently rushed to record it so he didn't forget it. And that's something I've noticed with a lot of like good ideas or good music, and music especially. It just kind of comes to people randomly, and they have to like write it down on a napkin or get it recorded somehow, some way, so they don't lose it. And that's just so interesting. That's such an iconic theme. I mean, here we are, what, like 20 years later or 25 years later, and it's still iconic. It's just crazy to me. It's very interesting. So I wanted to kind of add that here because I thought you guys would also like to know. Now, moving on to the story and the characters, that's where it's weird. I say that's where this thrives, but really the only characters I guess people think of when they think of Halo is Master Chief, maybe Cortana, maybe the Arbiter, but for the most part, it's just Master Chief, going around killing. And Master Chief is the protagonist, or I should say, the silent protagonist. He's designed as a blank slate for players, and I always took this as like, obviously not when I was younger because I didn't know anything about this kind of stuff, but now looking back, I take this as like a way for the player to just easily insert themselves into the story and just feel like they belong. Now, I mentioned Cortana, and Cortana provides unique aspects to the gameplay. She provides personality, some balance, and of course exposition. Good old exposition. And honestly, it's not in this first one so much, but as this franchise goes on, her and Chief's relationship becomes iconic. So it's really awesome to see such a because usually it's weird. I've noticed in stuff I like, a lot of the iconic characters are introduced, either in like the second season or the second movie or third movie or whatever. Like, they're not always introduced right out the gate. So it's awesome that these two are just introduced right here in this title. Now, the Flood are, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Humanity is facing off against the Covenant. I mentioned that they are attacking the Pillar of Autumn. And then you have the twist. The twist is Halo is a super weapon built by the Forerunners. Now, the Halo is something that they're constantly fighting over. And obviously, like I said, it's revealed as a twist. But it's just something people know, obviously, now, especially if you know the franchise. But at the time, this was really cool because I remember playing through this and I was so shocked by all of the reveals in this, because you don't know what you're walking into. This is a space marine like shooter. I mean, it's not like Call of Duty where there is limitations. There's seemingly limitless possibilities here. And with those limitless possibilities also comes the Flood. I kind of spoiled it a little bit, but the Flood are revealed halfway through the game, and it completely changed the tone for me when I was playing this. It turns from a sci-fi shooter, first-person shooter, whatever you want to call it, to a straight-up horror game. And the Flood are terrifying. And the Flood are consistently terrifying throughout this franchise for me. And I think it's just so interesting to do this because it's a very bold choice. Again, when this game came out, you guys have to realize, like, this stuff was not commonplace. This was not like the norm. So for them to do this was very respectable, honestly. I appreciate that they did that. And funny enough, the Flood weren't even in the original design, actually. Bungie added them late to keep things fresh, and they ended up being, obviously one of the most terrifying parts of this series. So this franchise is a funny way of doing stuff that's like a lot of stuff is like happenstance, maybe not accidental per se, but it's just very interesting the way things come about, especially such iconic things. Now, moving on, I want to talk about the gameplay kind of revolution, honestly. This game introduced, I've seen this coined online. I don't really know who to credit, honestly, because I've seen it numerous times on Twitter, Reddit, whatever you want to talk about, whatever degenerate social media site you want to quote. I've seen it used, and that is the golden triangle of combat. That being guns, grenades, and melee. This game kind of perfected that, honestly, in my opinion. Like, I go back and I play Combat Evolved. Obviously, I don't have an original Xbox. I don't have this original, like, I guess, version of this game. But even playing it on Combat Evolved, I just love this so much. The 2-weapon limit made combat strategic. It made you actually have to, think about how you play instead of having a shooter where you're just unlimited supplies. And I'm not saying this is a like survival horror or anything like that. It's definitely not. You get your fair share of ammo, but when you're limited to 2 guns, some people nowadays may see that as boring. But back in the day, this was very beneficial to this title because it works so well. Like I said, you can't just charge into any situation and know that you're going to be okay because you have a flamethrower, a machine gun, SMG, an AR, a sniper. No, that's not the case. I mean, you have your assault rifle, your pistol, and your grenades, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and obviously the melee, but I mean, this 2-weapon limit was pretty genius, and I'm not saying that Halo pioneered this. I'm just saying it was just very well done, given all of the different enemies you face off against in this. Now, speaking of enemies, the AI enemies felt alive. I remember oh my god, I would always play this at my friend's house in middle school, and he was a bigger Halo fan than me, honestly. I probably should have had him do this video, but either way, I always remember the enemies feeling so smart, so alive. Grunts panicked, elites dodged, hunters had weak spots. Like, there was just so much life there. You weren't just feeling like you were shooting at a random NPC, another, just body in the way. Like, I remember, honestly, guys, getting pissed when the elites would dodge certain things. I'm like, really? Can you just sit there and let me hit you? Like, I was so bad at video games, and honestly, I still am. That's why I'm not a streamer. That's why I make these kind of videos. But enemies weren't the only thing that kind of changed this game and made it feel different. Vehicles like the Warthog, Ghost, Banshee, and Scorpion also did that. And it added another layer to this. And as you guys are starting to see, this is kind of like Shrek or like an onion. It has layers. All right. It is. It's so funny how much, like, looking back on this now, just how much was here. And again, I know by today's standards, this isn't always like the most groundbreaking thing, but you guys have to put yourselves in the shoes of when this came out. And I mean, even when I played it, because I was not obviously alive to play this like on release, but when I was playing it, it was still like insane to me. I mean, you could drive a vehicle, not just one, by the way. You could drive different kinds of vehicles, enemy ships, like alien technology, and also just like basically a Jeep. And now a little fun fact I wanted to throw in. I'm trying to do this at the end of each section. I'm trying this out. If you guys don't really like this, let me know. I don't know. It was just kind of something random I wanted to do because, well, honestly, I found a lot for this game for some reason. I don't know. I don't usually go searching fun facts, but I just kind of like would come across this stuff, and I was like, oh, that might be interesting to include. But anyways, the Halo pistol was broken. And I didn't need to look this up to know, okay? This pistol, this is a rare instance where, you have people, I had friends that would go through the whole game just basically using the pistol. They wouldn't even use the AR. And I would, if I was good enough to do that, I probably would have done the same. But it was broken. It had insane range. The zoom was good. The damage was insane. And funny enough, Bungie did not plan it that way. Go figure. It just kind of slipped through the balancing process and became everyone's favorite weapon. And this was before, things got nerfed and buffed. So it was just kind of in the game, and you could use it, and it rocked. So that whole two-weapon system, definitely not something to worry about when you got one of these. It's basically a sniper and everything rolled into one. It's pretty sick. And I just remember that being a very fond memory of, like, laughing about it with my friends because of just how OP it was. So I thought it was funny. Now, moving on to the next part of the game I wanted to talk about, that is the co-op and multiplayer. Now, multiplayer, Halo's multiplayer is so fun and iconic for, honestly, all the different reasons COD is, for the most part. Like, it's just very different feeling. And both are good in their own right. But Halo, definitely iconic for the split screen and co-op. It's rare to have that for a full campaign, but this game did. And if you've had siblings, you know all about split screen, especially when it comes to multiplayer, the whole screen peeking. My brother and I never had the idea to separate with a blanket like I've seen some people do online. We just kind of, definitely didn't cheat on each other's screens. So it was always a lot of fun having, the split screen and doing co-op with my brother or my friend. But something I never really got to participate in that played a big role into this was LAN parties. If you guys don't know, LAN parties defined an era, basically. It was 16-player matches held in basements, garages, dorms. If you're bold enough, I guess a bedroom you could do that in, sure. But for the most part, that's where they were held. And they were filled with pizza, Mountain Dew, I'm sure the most horrible smells known to man at that time. And of course, Halo split screen. It was a great time. It was so much fun looking, I should say. I'm talking about this again. I get caught up talking about this stuff like as if I participated in this, which I definitely did not. But that being said, I feel like it's worth noting just because of how, iconic it was to this game specifically. I do want to note, between my friends and I, Blood Gulch was the go-to map for this game. Setting the stage for, Halo's multiplayer dominance. Blood Gulch was an awesome map. Had a lot of fun on it. I'll show you a picture here if I can find one. But yeah, it was originally apparently a quick, like, little test play map, but Bungie didn't expect it to be, to have the legacy that it does now. But from what I've heard from the general community, fans also loved it as much as my friends and I. They turned it in the heart of Halo multiplayer for this game. And it's just so funny how this stuff kind of keeps coming up for this game. Now, I talked about this earlier, but I want to go back to it a little bit, and that is the soundtrack. As I mentioned earlier, Martin O'Donnell came up with the soundtrack, or part of it, in his head. But I did not talk about Michael Salvatore. I think his name is Salvatore. I'm going to try not to butcher that. Michael Salvatore and Martin O'Donnell delivered one of the greatest game scores ever. The music shifted tone depending on, where you were at in exploration, what kind of action was going on the screen, or if there was action, or if there was any mystery happening. And it gave Halo a soul. Ironic enough, Halo, soul. Get it? Anyways, This music is just it's just so funny how certain theme songs and soundtracks have become so much more important to me later in life. Like, I saw a really interesting video. I don't know if I can link it here or post a screenshot of it here, but I remember seeing a YouTube video, or maybe it was an Instagram reel or something, about how music impacts our movies and culture so much, and how iconic scenes and iconic games would not feel the same without the music behind it. And it's so true. And in this game, the music makes it so epic, so grand, but also so intense and mysterious and just everything. It wraps it up all into one, and it's so hard to do. I can't even imagine being tasked with creating something like that. Although they did that here, and they did it damn good. Now, I want to talk about why this game holds up to me. To me, personally, I feel like I have to preface this so much because I still get some people in my comments like, this is why you're wrong. Listen, you can think I'm wrong, but like, I'm not just gonna like blindly agree with whatever you say. If I disagree, or if you don't bring up good enough points, I'm just gonna have to disagree. But either way, the gunplay feels timeless. That's my first one. Like I mentioned, I played this on Combat Evolved, and obviously it's not the exact same as playing the original copy, but I also remember playing that original copy at my friends, and the gunplay was always like my favorite. I just loved shooting things, and I just loved the use of the pistol and even the AR. It's just so the sounds, the way they shot, the recoil, the reloading, it's just all like ingrained into my brain, and I love it so much, even to this day. And that's saying a lot considering it still holds up in 2025. And I mean, honestly, guys, I went into this with an honest lens. I'm not just saying this to just say that, oh, the gunplay is awesome. I genuinely think it is. Now, another thing that does help this a lot is the AI. The AI is, oddly enough, still smarter than a lot of modern shooters' AIs. And there's a lot to be said about that, because it's quite amazing how far technology has come, and yet how older technology still manages to seem to like kind of outdo, I guess, the newer stuff. And maybe there's something to be said about the level of care that went into older productions, or who knows, the way that people knew how to utilize it. But either way, I don't really care how. All I know is the AI for this game is still fantastic, and I love it. Now, the next thing is the level design. Minus my least favorite, the library. The level design keeps things interesting, and it's a lot of fun. But also, this game has a lot of mystery and atmosphere. Atmosphere is big for me in games. One I played recently for the first time as the remastered version was Dead Space. My wife got it for me for my birthday. And the atmosphere in that just made me realize how much a well-done atmosphere can make a game. Like, it's crazy. I was honestly scared of Dead Space sometimes just on the atmosphere alone. And that's before I even ran into anything super twisted and messed up. So it's just funny to see how this game's atmosphere still holds up. And it was literally, it is the blueprint. Halo is a franchise that stays very, in my opinion, true to its roots, especially at least like visually. And it's just crazy to think how right they got it on the first attempt. I don't know. It's something very rare that you don't always see. So I just feel like it deserves to be talked about, because it's very unique, especially in today's time. Now, speaking of legacy, Halo, the first Halo sold over, I believe, 6.4 million copies on Xbox. That's crazy. For the time it came out, that's nuts. I mean, I don't know if games sell like that today, even the Halo games today. I mean, if you equate it, to when this came out to now, I don't think games sell like this. This was different. It cemented Xbox as the brand it is, and it gave Microsoft the foothold in gaming that it was dying for against Nintendo and Sony PlayStation. But this also got them into other areas. It spawned sequels. As I mentioned, this is a franchise. It spawned some spin-offs, some novels, some comics, and even some shows, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll make a video on that, but I don't know if I want to subject myself to that kind of pain. And also esports teams. It also, spawned those. It's just, this game, as I mentioned before, it's just, I don't know if a game has had this kind of cultural impact to this level. I mean, not many have. I know obviously others have, but what I'm trying to say is not many. And Master Chief became an icon, like Mario or Link. He is a video game icon, forever cemented as that. No matter what you think of the newer games, Master Chief himself will always be an icon. And you see the armor alone, the helmet alone, the silhouette, like, people know. This is an iconic character, and there's just, if you've played these games, you know why. There's too much to even dive into in one video. Master Chief is him. He is Master Chief, and I love it. Now, Microsoft has admitted without Halo, the Xbox brand may not have survived. And I said that earlier, I've said that. And a lot of other people have too. I'm not saying I'm the originator there. I'm just saying I couldn't agree more. This game was massive to Microsoft's overall success with the Xbox, and it cannot be overstated, it cannot be overstated just how important this was, which is why I kind of wanted to make this video, because obviously enough people talk about it, but I just wanted to share my passion for it. And I can go over the second and the third one, but basically, that's the first Halo game. Didn't just evolve combat, it evolved gaming as a whole. And it redefined console shooters, gave us one of the most iconic characters in gaming, and basically created Xbox as we know it. So what I want to know is, what's your favorite Halo memory? LAN parties? Did you have any fun little rage quits where you maybe broke some controllers or TVs? Or how was your first experience meeting the Flood? Because mine was terrifying and awful, because even to this day, I'm a little bitch. So feel free to drop that stuff in the comments. I'm very eager to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane with me on the first Halo, let me know. And let me know if you guys, again, want to see more from this franchise. If you want to see me do this with other Halo videos, I can. As iconic as this one is, I definitely have, ones that are more so my favorite in this franchise. I just wanted to start with this one in case this does become a series. I wanted to be able to, kind of talk about it. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I mean, I'm not going to, ramble on too much more. If you did stick around this long and you heard what I had to say about this amazing game, I really do appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing you guys hopefully in the next one. But until then, hope you have a great day.